Okay, we have the second team about to present here. This is the Gibby Gang.
Hello everyone, we are the Gibby Gang. We're here to present to you today our plan to create a cleaner source of energy for Acrisure Stadium. See, our plan, we introduced to you something called the Gibby. Now, Gibby is an acronym. It stands for Greatness is Vital because of you. Now, this probably sounds really confusing to you at this point, and let me explain this to you. So basically what our plan is we plan to implement pedals, which we put underneath all of the seats in the entire stadium, sort of like ellipticals, where the fans themselves can power the stadium during the game. See, these pedals can be retractable, so they can go underneath the seats so people can still walk through and put stuff where they need to, but they can come out, so fans can use them at their own leisure and use them whenever they want. They can use these pedals during downtime of the game, during timeouts, and anything similar. And more or less, this plan, honestly, the first time you hear it, sounds completely ridiculous. But if you think about it, it's really quite similar to how ridiculous a Fitbit was when it was first introduced. People found it weird that something that was only used to tell time could be also used to track how many calories you burn in a day and how many steps you can take. However, as Fitbits became more and more modernized and popular, people began to see its benefits, and we believe that this could be similar to that. We believe our pedals could work similar to that of a windmill, except instead of being powered by the wind, it would be powered by the fans themselves. The fans would power the entire stadium, including the lights and the Jumbotron and whatever. And they could do this during timeouts, or really whenever they wanted.
So we all know that you can generate energy using water or air, but can you really use people to power and create energy? Well, here's the math showing that it can actually work. According to my sources, you can generate 0.11 kilowatt hours of energy per chair per hour using the Gibby, times 4 hours of amount of time that you can pedal, times 68,400 chairs in Acrisure Stadium, divided by 1,000 to convert it to megawatt hours from kilowatt hours, and you'll get approximately 30 megawatt hours of energy created. Divide that by 50 megawatt hours, which is about how much a stadium will use per game, and you'll find that you can power 60% of Acrisure Stadium, as the pie chart shows. But how will we earn the other 40% of energy needed? I found that solar panels are the best way to create clean, renewable energy. A solar panel will generate 0.45 kilowatt hours of energy per 2 square feet they are placed on. But as shown on the model, if you place them on top of the awning, it still looks aesthetically pleasing and will not compromise the structural integrity. You can also put messages on the Jumbotron to increase crowd participation, and the faster that you pedal, the more energy you'll create.
So there are other solutions to this problem, and they're fine, but none of them rely on the community itself to generate electricity. But how will this benefit our city and our community? As we all know, the environmental effect of our power is becoming more and more of a concern. And people are feeling hopeless, like they can't do anything to solve this problem. But with the Gibby, they can take it into their own hands and work to create energy. Now, this is extremely efficient. It doesn't rely on the power grid, and power outages won't affect the stadium as much. It's also extremely profitable, with most of our profits coming from our sponsors and our fans. Our sponsors will absolutely adore this idea and will give the Gibby the financial support it needs. Also, what other stadium do you know that has pedals on the seats? That's right, none. With the introduction of the Gibby, the popularity of Acrisure Stadium will skyrocket. As a byproduct of this, we'll see way more ticket sales from this invention. In addition, the Gibby may exhaust the fans while they use them, and they need to quench their thirst. This would require them to buy more cold drinks from the concession stands, again, boosting stadium profits. Now, this is how the fans in the stadium benefit from the Gibby, but what about Pittsburgh as a community? Well, we all know that the people of Pittsburgh are hardworking. I mean, this is Steel City. We built this country. And the people of Pittsburgh can come together and manufacture these pedals and create jobs for people who need them. Another growing problem is obesity, which is only getting worse with COVID and people staying at home watching football games on their couch instead of getting out of the house. Well, the Gibby would encourage fans to get out and even get some exercise. Even people who hate football can have a great time with the introduction of the Gibby.
Another way we intend to implement our plan is to put QR codes on the backs of every chairs. This way, during the game, the fans can scan the QR codes and take them to a website or app of some sort. And it can show them stats such as current speed, energy generated, calories burned, distance traveled. This way, the fans can see in real time what their impact on the stadium and how much power they have generated. They can also set goals for themselves throughout the game and say they want to hit 300 calories, 400 calories before the end of the game to make themselves stay fit throughout. Once again, I bring up the example of the Fitbit and how this keeps track of our exercise throughout the day. This would be the same thing, but just implemented during the game. We could also implement goals on the Jumbotron, which could have a meter that could fill up as fans do better and better and exercise more and more throughout, showing how much energy has been created by the fans. We can also create competitions between different sections to encourage participation as they compete with each other to create the most energy. On top of this, the Gibby creates a more interactive environment for all of the fans in the game. They feel like they are truly a part of the game, and the excitement that they will feel will add to their experience at this game. Here we have a picture of fans before the Gibby. They are sad and not having a fun time at the game. And as you can see by this green man here, he is not in the best of shape. However, once the Gibby has been implemented, people are having fun and are excited. As you can see, they've become somewhat of athletes themselves.
So in summary, the Gibby is vital to Pittsburgh's community and economy. You would need workers to manufacture parts and also assemble the pedals. The workers would need to install and add electrical to the stadium, which will add more jobs for the Pittsburgh community. FedEx can help to ship the parts to the stadium to add more, to make it more effective. This plan can be implemented in sections, so it would not all happen at once. One section would have the pedals, and then you'd eventually get the whole stadium built. It's not that hard to add these because it's not a whole change to the entire structure of the stadium. You're just adding pedals under each seat. The stadium can still be in use during all of this, and the time it takes depends on the amount of workers who are doing this. But the people responsible for this are mostly the Pittsburgh community, since the Pittsburgh community would be the ones powering the stadium. The whole thing would be community driven. So the first phase of this plan would just be fundraising through donations and by the community to get enough money to start production of those pedals. And then once we have the pedals in, we can go through phases 2 through 7, which would be adding the pedals into the stadium and getting corporate sponsorships. Someone high up in Acrisure Stadium would need to lead this and get corporate sponsorships and more fundraising. So corporate sponsorships are basically a corporation can put their logo on the seats, saying that they support it and are part of it. They could have the person who pedals the most could get a free reward. So say if McDonald's, someone who's known for obesity and unhealthy foods, puts their logo on the pedals, it makes them seem more like they're ready to go green and also help people lose weight. If someone pedals the most, they can get a free meal from McDonald's or something like that. So thank you for listening to our presentation and open to questions.
Thank you, Gibby Gang. What's the investment to design it, to build it, to install it? What would that cost?
So the cost mostly depends on what you make the product out of. So it's a very simple layout. It shouldn't cost that much, especially with fundraising, but we don't have an exact price. This is relatively new, so there's not much to base off of it. But ellipticals have been around for a long time, and this is about the same concept as those, so it shouldn't be that much of an investment.
Oh, okay. And then I have two questions. The first one is, what's the mechanism to get the pedals back and forth from underneath the seats? How does that work? And then, is there another process that people with disabilities can participate in this?
So the mechanism, we have a track on there so that you can pull it in and out, and you can put a pulley inside there so that the pedals work whenever they're pulled out.
And then for disabilities, we haven't really had the final product. This is just kind of the base, but you could really do anything. You could have a little hand crank. It's not as fun as the pedals, but just so they're included in it, they can still be on the scoreboard and things like that.
If I understood the math correctly, every fan would be biking for 4 hours, correct, for 60%. What happens if you have a fan that doesn't feel like biking?
Of course, obviously, fans will not be biking for the entire 4 hours. This was just as an example, but we are talking, we decided that 30% clean energy, or whatever we create, could be better than zero. And on top of this, we talked about the challenges on the Jumbotron that can encourage participation and all sorts of prizes that you can get from it. So that way more and more people will be willing to participate.
Any other questions, judges? We're good? All right, one more round of applause for Gibby Gang. Thank you.